Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Well, as you see here, we're cresting straight past the 4.5-year anniversary and officially saying farewell, and we're going straight into a collaboration once again, as we are most certainly not slowing down any of the hype and momentum. This time around, we're going to be focusing on yet another late 90s anime in the mecha genre that also was rather monumental in its contribution to the genre as a whole. This time around, we're going to be focusing on the Martian successor Nadesico, and a lot of the various designs and themes that came with it, including the Ace Divalis, the original mech that was used in the series, alongside a handful of other notable faces from that series as well officially joining in. So it looks like we got ourselves a really nice overview as to what we can expect throughout the entirety of the month of August. Lots of rewards likely to be found, and as you saw there, 5 different models that will be made officially available over the course of this collaboration. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was officially announced for this week, starting of course with the Gacha banners and who to expect first. Now the first week, of course, they did highlight that we're going to be getting 2 models of the 5. The first of which is KSN0 Adonishing, with a kit of Emit Hammer, Giga Gatling, Jet Hammer, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Auto Charge. As you see here, Emit Hammer is a brand new skill being introduced into the game, but its themes are basically going to be as easy as you think they are. Because if you've been able to collect a Medley back during the Bravern collaboration, you already have an idea of what to expect with Emit Hammer. To explain it briefly though, as long as you are able to consume 30% of your charge gauge upon use, that's double damage upon use in every successful use, but also costs 30 CG every time. No CG, no Emit Hammer. It is simply as easy as that. Powerful hammer, but also incredibly expensive to use, so do bear that in mind. Additionally, we're also getting KSN01 Geki Ganger 3, which is a series within the series, based on what I understand of the plot and series thus far, with a kit of Wide Break, Overcharge, Jet Blow, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Super Armor. Now, as you see here, Super Armor alone is going to be a very big value point with Geki Ganger 3, especially because that means it's going to have a lot of very high and viable use in competitive meta. And you are most certainly right, since currently Artemis is one of the only float legs in the game that actually has super armor. Now we have one for males as well. In addition to this, we'll be getting model number 3 next week on 8/15, model number 4 on 8/22, and the 5th and final model on 8/29. So, like I said, we're going to be seeing a lot of Nadesico themed models and highlights through the course of this coming month of August. So it's going to be pretty easy to expect what's incoming, and it's going to be a pretty busy month if I'm being honest with you. So if you are able to stock up on any resources from the 4.5-year anniversary, or you've been stockpiling for longer than that, this is definitely going to be the event for you. Now, with the boosted rates we have going on this week, that will be going live on both Adonishing and Geki Ganger 3's banners, are the original M5 dog and cat types from the days of Medarot 5. And that is highlighting that lineup, DOG03 Brutus, with Break Rush, Hammer, Power Hammer, Biped Legs, and Soaring. And we have C1803 Dencat, with Mobile Cooler, Thunder, Hyper Thunder, Biped Legs, and Mascot. Now, honestly, between these two, there really isn't a whole lot of, say, new stuff per se, or really anything overly impressive. Brutus is basically just the overall definition of your collateral damage type, with 3 different kinds of AoE attacks, 1 conventional, 2 conditional, 1 that just hits harder than most but leaves him wide open, but his leg stats are actually pretty good too with Soaring. And Dencat really doesn't stray too far from the path as any other previous cat type before her. Peppercat, Dencat, Rouge, Catsy, this one is most certainly no exception either, with basic Thunder and a stronger Thunder if you decide you need to be just a little more potent in your Thunder Shock to the enemy. Both of these will be boosted rates on both banners for Adonishing and for Geki Ganger 3, so you have a chance at collecting either one of these 3, depending on no matter which banner of the 2 that you pick. Now, with the Fierce battles we have going on this week, it's going to be a little more diverse, but focusing mostly on Ladies Week. So, starting that lineup here on the top, and the only male type of the Fierce battles this week is FLW01 Charged Seeds, with beam, double heater plant, multi-legs, and the leg ability of extra magazine. And being completely real with you, you really aren't missing out on a whole lot with charge seeds. I'd say collect them just for the sake of having him, but he's literally going to sit there like the potted plant he is and not really do much. Meanwhile, as I continue on with outside of my rant, continuing on with the fierce battles on this top row, we have OWL-03 Minerova with Laser, Free Shot, Press, Float Legs, and Torturer. And we have BPB-0 Vorpal Rabbit with triple anti-air, shooting variants, biped legs, and bullet rate. On this bottom row, we're starting off with HKG-0 Hawkdacker with triple wave, flight legs, and excel. We have FEI-01 Flapper Kung Fu with guard boost, double break, hammer, biped legs, and rumbling. And then last but not least, we also have FSL-0 Fancy Roll, the original Magical Girl type, with a kit of Virus, Hammer, Napalm, Flight Legs, and Mascot. Now honestly, with the exception of Charge Seeds, which, like I said, you're not missing out on, honestly, it honestly is kind of tough to pick an MVP of the week, because all 5 of the ladies that are available for this week for farming are all really useful in one realm or another. Flapper Kung Fu, for instance, with Break Hammer and Heavy Punish, even if both arms are heavy. Vorpal Rabbit for shooting versions of anti-air if you want to make sure to pair it off with that powerful tornado attack. Fancy Roll for your all-rounder with mixed ailment fighter type with female on the field. Hawkdacker for triple wave, flight legs, and excel, but Minerova honestly is probably going to be the top of the top for this week, primarily because she packs a lot of really useful shooting skills that can fit her into a diverse array of requirements. Free Shot probably being the biggest MVP part on her, for the ability to use shooting attacks and the ability to stop the enemy cold to guarantee that all hits land, and crit on top of that if they are frozen in place. So it's very obvious why I chose her as MVP of the week, but just remember, much like any other week, if you are new or a rookie Medarotter, just make sure you farm all 6 just to have the parts on hand at the minimum, and you can always go back and raise them later with Cyplasium and ROMs. Now, of course, what would it be a collaboration without some extra goodies? As you see here, we have 2 paid skins available for Adonis Singh, which is actually the only model getting paid skins this time around. This time around, focusing him on a Metabi and a Rokusho style cosmetic skin that will be available in the web store, mostly for the same price of about 2,900 to 3,600 yen, which equates to roughly about 18 to 20 bucks USD, so nothing overly expensive if you choose to go after those, and you get some extra rubies on the side. But as a fair warning and a reminder, just because you buy the skin does not mean you get the box. So if you buy the skin but you fail to get Adonis Singh, you are unfortunately going to be missing out, and it's going to be sitting there in your library looking pretty until he somehow, maybe, hopefully comes back around. So just a fair warning there. Don't go after these unless you already have them first. But on the topic of that, moving forward, it's still some very nice looking skins all the same, and I just do also want to take a minute and just kind of commend the So What and Imagineer teams for making a really big effort on making the skins diverse and creative, and not just simple recolors either. Like, these are actually full-blown mesh skins, and I honestly love that. I love when cosmetics take that extra step and make it look nice. Makes it so much more worth it when you actually do collect the skin and make use of it. Now, we also have a pair of collab Medarotters that are going to be joining the fun this time around. This time specifically, we're going to be focusing on Hikaru and Kirara, which are the protagonists to the original Medarot 1. This time around, for their specialty skills, Hikaru will be giving you an 80% boost to your shoot and your melee resist until you are attacked. Now, this is already touching on the really heavy reduction that his passives do give already, which 2 of which are also shoot and melee resist anyway. Now, at first glance, you're probably going to look at Hikaru and think, oh, cool, the way I can keep my damage reduction pretty high on my tank types, and you are 100% right. But I'm going to give you another outlook to consider on this. Remember, anyone that considers, say, Assault, or Hull, or even Weapon Master, or anything that takes a percentage of the resist stats of the leg into bonus damage, wink wink, nudge nudge, this special Hikaru might just be your best in slot for those going forward. Hiraka, on the other hand, will buff damage by 70% of the user's charge gauge for up to 2 turns. So that just means that if you're using a Metaforce reliant fighter such as, say, God Emperor, Beastmaster, or even Samurai or Proto Musho or someone similar that does something similar, as long as you have a full charge gauge or relatively close to full charge, 70% of that is going to be added directly into your base power, for 2 turns no less, so you're going to be hitting notably harder as long as that buff remains in effect. Both of these Medarotters, much like all the collab bots, will be sticking around until early next month in September, so just make sure you keep that in mind as well if you are planning to think about it or just kind of ruminate on which ones you want to prioritize the most. Now, as far as event stuff is concerned, much like it will be with previous collabs, we have first wave of likely 2 to 3 waves of the event to keep us busy through the month of August. This first wave, we have the opportunity to earn the Grasshopper Medal, which is a Guard Nature medal, with a mastery in shooting, melee, and healing, with leg masteries in Biped, Floating, and Sea. We can also earn 2 commemorative profile banners featuring Estevalis and Genki Ganger 3, and do correct me if I did pronounce that wrong. The enunciation is just a little bit off on my end. You can also earn 3, and I'm saying it correctly, 3 different kinds of gacha tickets, and among other rewards. One of which will be geared toward this specific type of event, which is just a handful of boosted rate models, plus the permanent banner. One of which will be the permanent pool plus the PvP-related bots, which, as a reminder, this week it is Swimmer Mate, Marine Killer, and I believe it was Beast Chimera, I believe, the Raiju skin for Beast Chimera. So boosted rates for 3 of those. And the last of which will be just your regular limited times gacha tickets. So lots and lots of opportunities to get some really good parts, especially if you are a brand new player. Which, friendly reminder, as of a recent patch, as long as you're under level 50, you have unlimited energy as long as you can possibly go. So do make sure you capitalize on that over the course of this event, as you are planning to participate and collect a lot of these limited time models and rewards. The event itself will be milestone-based, or score attack as it's also known. So it'll be pure sets encouraged across the board as you are building your teams. As you see here, Adonis Singh and Genki Ganger 3 will give you that 15% bonus per part equipped. The highlighted bots, which will be Brutus and Dencat, as well as Swimmer Mate and Marine Killer, will give you a 10% bonus each, and the Fierce Battles at a 6% each. For Medarotters, the SR group for Hikaru and Kirara will give you a 10% bonus per 1 equipped. Standard SR rank Hikaru, or his younger version, and Arase will give you a 5%. There'll be a 3% for either those 2 and Kirara for the R rank, and a 1% for all 3 of those respectively for the Medarotter bonuses. So this one might be just a little bit on the higher end with Gacha, because these models aren't very easily obtained or collected, save for, say, Swimmer Mate or Marine Killer, which are both spotlights in the permanent banner. So if you are planning to at least pull for one of these models, that is probably going to get you a head start on any of the particular bonuses that you need to capitalize or should capitalize on. Now, one other thing to mention as well as far as game stuff is concerned, we are getting the first wave of Super Invasions to join us with this collaboration as well. As you see here, featuring Adonis Singh, we'll be getting the first wave here, and likely it's going to be a relatively simple one with very easy, say, overclocked medals, maybe 1 or 2 other very easy modifiers on top of that. Clear it in and out, and you get your free rewards of that banner as you see here, and a handful of rubies. One other thing to mention is that through the course of this event, we will also be getting event missions returning once again. What are those? Very easy ways to participate in the event and earn rewards on the side. That means extra chances at ruby shards and gacha tickets on top of that, to capitalize on your emergency funds as necessary, and any other limited time banners as we go. But I believe that covers all the game-based stuff as I'm looking through my notes here, and oh, hold on, what's this special piece of news? right, folks. As you saw here, at long last, after a handful of years, the Medarot 3 translation and English patch is finally done. Upon a confirmation from my dear friends Variant and Wiset and a handful of others that have been spearheading that translation project, now we here on the western front can finally experience the game and story of Medarot 3 in its entirety in the English language. I will not provide, of course, links to a pre-patched ROM, since that is kind of against particular rules of pirating and emulation, which is still kind of a gray area. But there will be links to the GitHub specifically for all the instruction on how to apply the patch, how to play it, and what to best look for and suggest in the comments below this video to keep yourselves in the know. I do have to give a very warm shout out and thank you to my dear friends that have been spearheading that project with completing Medarot 3. It's been a lot of bugs, a lot of questions, a lot of translation problems, and even a lot of points where they were just kind of wondering how much longer they had to go, because Medarot 3 compared to 1 had a buttload of dialogue. So, and it's only going to be even bigger as well as they advance into Medarot 4 and continue forward from there. I am very eager to be able to play the patch myself for Medarot 3, and even as I see progress going towards Medarot 4 to do the same as well. I might actually consider streaming, Medarot 3 actually, now that the patch is finished and complete, so I can actually enjoy it myself and properly learn the story of 3 on my own, and as well for other people that want to join me. Once again, if you'd like to see that, or even download the patch yourself and play, there will be a link to the GitHub down below, and if you have any questions specifically around that, or any bugs that you need to report, then it's mostly just tail-end stuff on the side at this point. Do join our Discord, also in the link provided below, and that's how you can ask around about it and report anything that you see that also needs to be fixed. On the topic of community stuff, though, as I do kind of branch us out and wrap us up here, we are always still looking for translators to assist us with any current projects or endeavors. With Medarot 3 completed, that does leave us with current spearhead progress towards Medarot 4, which is still very early in its decompilation. So if you would like to assist us with that, or if you know somebody who is knowledgeable in coding or cleaning or Japanese, or has some time on their hands, definitely feel free to join our Discord or have them join, ask around, and we can most certainly get you in touch with the right people to fill you in on what has been done and what still needs done up to this point. Now, with the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, I'm going to toot my own horn here again. Much like I don't really like to do often, because I kind of like to do this to showcase other artists of the community, but I was particularly proud of this piece here, and I'm gonna talk about it. But I did this piece here for those that don't follow me on Twitter, which, if you recognize the style of it, yes, indeed, I basically emulated the original promo art for Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda with this, and tried to go with the style of a Medarot no Densetsu Beetle of Time kind of style here. And I had a buddy of mine help me kind of figure out the cast of who would fit into what as I drew it and put it together. And honestly, I really like how it came out. I'm happy with this. It's actually my current phone wallpaper right now. And it's also available on my Twitter if you'd like to download it or go check it out or go see it on your own if you want to see it there. I do have to blame this same friend of mine, you know who you are, for sticking that idea in my head, because now I might actually go back and take other arts of Legend of Zelda and kind of emulate the same thing. I don't know, I'll have to figure it out. But anyway, enough of tooting my own horn here. Going back to other people I need to highlight, this piece here by Twitter user Baka Mao Kun. I'm a very simple man. I'm very easy to please. If I see art of Kurojiri, I have to share it, because Kurojiri is the best boy. I just can't say that enough. And of course, this one here highlighting Kurojiri and Shinzon is a very nice piece. I love the bright colors here, as you see here, kind of going for that pastel look. And the bandana on Kurojiri's horn for that extra personalization was also a really nice touch too, which I really did like. Definitely give them a follow to show your support for the wonderful art they provide and contributed to the Medarot community. One final note as well, just as I prepare to wrap us up here, just as a friendly reminder, I am always open for commission for art or 3D modeling related stuff. For art, I can do live 2D models, fully, not rigged, but ready to rig and fully layered, ready to go for your rigger that is able to take it that next step. I can do 3D models that are fully rigged, textured, and ready to go for basically drag and drop in any program of your choice. Standard 2D art at varying degrees of complexity and detail, mostly focusing on the cel-shaded art style that I've really come to enjoy and find myself comfortable with overall. I can also do emotes very simply here, or do bundle of them, $5 for $40. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or on Discord if you'd like to inquire more on that, or possibly make something happen. But I believe that covers basically everything for this week's episode, since, like I said, we got a pretty strong heads up as to what to expect as in the coming weeks going forward. So with that being said, if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page, or the Metabots Forever community on there that is also run and managed by yours truly. Currently, it's cresting nearly 28,000 members and still growing by the day, and I am so proud of its progress. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new links to merchandise, fan art, contests, my weekly episodes, or if you're playing the Medarot 3 patch and have questions either on how to set it up, or if you'd like to report bugs, that is also the place that you need to go to report them and point them out. You can also follow me on Twitter at Isagamikura. If you have any questions, feedback, comments, or suggestions, feel free to reach out to me as well, and we can most certainly try to make something happen. And if you are a streamer, VTuber, content creator of any kind and would love to collaborate with me, whether that means having you here on my channel as a guest host on the MNN, or if you'd like to have me stop in on your channel for a friendly chat and a game, feel free to reach out to me and we can most certainly try to make something happen. One final thing though, actually, as it does come to mind, I am just going to kind of leave it as an open question and open-ended discussion. But given that my engagement here on YouTube has been kind of on and off, and I've noticed that my comments have been kind of stagnating as well over the past few months, I've honestly been kind of wondering if I maybe should consider streaming even just my gameplay, say it was because I've been doing Dark Cloud 2 recently, or even collaborations. I've been wondering if I should consider maybe streaming simulcasting on both YouTube and Twitch whenever I go live. That would not affect any of my weekly coverage here on the MNN. This is just strictly for all the gameplay stuff I do on the side. Would that be something you guys might be interested in me looking into as a possibility, or maybe as something I could consider to bolster engagement? I will honestly leave it up to you. But again, that is an open-ended discussion. No real question, no real yes or no answers or wrong answers. Just any feedback on that would be appreciated. Lastly, and most certainly not least, definitely give both of these wonderful artists a follow as well. Twitter users Sylvalion041 and Takataka Leaf. Now, both of these might seem relatively random at first glance, but I do want to point out the fact both of these artists are actually pretty remarkably known because they have designed official Medarots in previous events or collaborations. Sylvalion in particular was the one responsible for Adonishing this time around, as well as other models in the past from, say, the Ghost in the Shell collab, or even a handful of others in between. And we also have Takataka Leaf, who did the design for Geki Ganger 3, as well as a handful of other models like Rafal from last year's 3.5-year anniversary collaboration. So wonderful artists as well. Definitely give both of them a follow if you'd like to see more of their art in your feeds. But with that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping in, just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.